something. Plain and simple. To me, Abigail was a delicious poison. An intoxicating, overwhelming poison. Yowie wowie! That felt good! Yowie wowie. Let me in.
It is another Monday, and you know what that means, folks. It means that it's time for another episode of Abby's Window. And of course, as always, you can't do Abby's Window without an Abby. So,
Right.
we got Abby. So, Jodie, how are you today?
I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. I'm kind of overdressed for the occasion right now, but other than that, I'm okay. Had to hurry up and get home. So, yeah. So, thank all of you for joining us tonight. We really appreciate you stopping by. And let me shout out some folks, and then we will get started to talk about a few things, and and maybe hopefully project the future of Bray Wyatt in this storyline. So, Rated R Wrestling, Annette Morris, Kevin Correa, Butterspark, Seven Fiend, Robert Morris, Cheese Whiz 2. Let's see here. James Chadwick, Sean Suslowitz, Big Dan 5309, Eric Travis, Trex Edie, Jacoby Snow, Joey's Adventures, Chris Kazuba, Jason Peace. And congratulations, Jason Peace, saying breaking news. I'm hopefully getting married on the 1st of October. Well, congratulations.
Ooh, that's exciting.
There you go. Dalton Riley. What's up, Dalton? Bruce Phillips. Not a fan of WWE, apparently. John Cena Gamer 0809. Cult of Wyndham 83, James Grant, EJ Movement, Other Mother. Wow, that moved pretty fast there. Wrestling fan since 1987. I like that.
Me too.
Staunch Boydie. I hope I said that right. If not, let me know. Brandon Barnes, Mike Lister. What's up? Sean Rousset. Janelle Jackson, Venomized Joker, Kevin Langoff. Thank you. Thank you all.
Good crowd.
Yeah, good crowd tonight. So let's get started. So, last week on Raw, we got a little something. Not much.
Something.
Yeah, not much. But tell me a little bit, Jodie, about Big Boy Dally. What's up? Tell me your thoughts on what we got last week on Raw.
Well, I think it's safe to say Alexa turned into a crazy bitch. Can I say that?
You can. I would agree with that. She got a little bit crazy.
Do you know how long it took me to get that song out of my head?
See, now it's in my head. I'm over here just internally kind of jamming out to it.
Yeah. It took forever to get that song out of my head.
But obviously this thing is going darker, I believe, and her physical look is different. What do you make of that?
I think every time you see her, she looks more dead.
Yeah.
I think I actually texted you that. Like every time she's on TV, she looks more dead.
Yeah, you did. You were like, and she looks dead. Like every time we see her, she looks more and more dead. Do you think that's part and parcel due to Lily, or what do you think the reason is behind that?
Well, as a horror fan, especially paranormal horror fans, you kind of know that the deeper you get into it, the less you start to look like yourself. You know, do you remember? I was actually over the weekend, I was watching The Conjuring.
Yeah.
Do you remember how the wife, like as time went by and she got more affected by this demonic presence in the house, she started to look different.
Mm-hmm.
She started to get bruises everywhere. You know what I mean? Like she started to look less like herself the further she went down that rabbit hole. No pun intended.
No. Chris, why do you feel bad for my headphones? Oh, Wally, what's up? The Will
Probably
Jackson.
because I just said something really loud. My bad. Sorry.
That's fine. It's all good. All good. So yeah, I mean, she's getting like this is going to a place that, I mean, I for one, you know, I'm kind of Jason P saying insidious.
Yep.
Like he's getting a little bit darker and things are going crazy. So what do you think is next for Alexa? I mean, it's been quite some time since she's been in a ring.
Mm-hmm.
You know, obviously she was there for Fastlane, but I mean, let's be honest.
The last time we saw her wrestle was the Rumble for a very brief moment, I believe.
Right. So Dave in real life, what's up with you, man? Good to see you. So do you think we get some type of match at some point soon? I mean, what do you think is next for Alexa?
She's got to have an opponent. Right now she doesn't have you can't really have Alexa versus Lily because there is no Lily, but not yet anyway. But, you know, I definitely think this is going to go down that route. I mean, she definitely said the women's division needs to watch their back because Lily doesn't like any of you. So
who do you think?
I think that's coming.
Who do you think the logical choices are? Are there any ones that we're thinking about right now?
I mean, would you not love to see Crazy Bitch versus Crazy Bitch and get Alexa versus Charlotte?
Ooh. I mean, you can sign me up for that. I would love that.
But if she goes down this same path of revenge, Rhea's the one that kicked her out of the Rumble. So I could see her maybe trying to get revenge for that.
Yeah.
She also, you know, Asuka now seemingly sat in Lily's spot on the swing or tried to. So maybe she goes after Asuka.
I would love that. I would love Asuka against Alexa. Either one I would be great with. Now, a lot of us are thinking, you know, there's no Lily. Janelle Jackson says, what if Lily is Nikki Cross? Do you think that's a possibility?
I think it's the similar story to, you know, she's the sister Abigail to Alexa. And so I actually kind of think we won't get a persona of Lily. I think what may happen down the line if the Fiend wants to get revenge over what Alexa or Lily did to him at WrestleMania and making him lose or being the reason that he lost, he would need to bring in another friend to go after Alexa for him, unless they're going to do some kind of weird cinematic thing, which is possible. But I would really like to see Bray bring someone else in to go after Alexa.
Would you like for that someone to be Nikki Cross?
I don't know. I wouldn't mind it being like Liv Morgan. I think she would do really well with that. Everybody has wanted that before Alexa joined the crew. Everybody was like, "Oh, Liv Morgan, put Liv Morgan with Bray," and I'd be okay with that. Yes, Dalton pointed out a good point, and I think I sent you pictures of this too. Lily looks a lot like Kana.
Yes. You sent me that picture and Dalton sent me that. Shout out to Dalton. Yeah, the resemblance is uncanny. I mean, it is interesting to say.
The eye makeup is very similar. The hair color is very similar. So I don't know.
Yeah, I would love that. And I think, you could accomplish a couple things with that. I think a lot of us love Asuka, but let's be honest, her character has gotten very stale over time.
I haven't used her right.
And that's primarily the reason why it's gotten stale, is because she just hasn't been used correctly. And this would be something that would just breathe new life into her character. And I mean, last week she called, Charlotte that she called Charlotte that B word. So,
she sure did.
So, hey, maybe we're getting there. Seven Fiend says in the promo about Lily, don't you think Alexa contradicted herself? In the first, she said that she met Lily when she was with Bray. In the second, she says that she was with her since she was a child.
I think if you go back to when she was falling into this Fiend storyline, she said that her brain had been washed and it was like a moth to a flame. So I could definitely see, Lily's been with her whole life. Obviously that's the storyline that they're going with. So you could tie that part into it with the Fiend kind of removing her or remember how Bray said that there are multiple personalities and only one can come forward at a time. So maybe, it was a real struggle. Alexa had a lot of struggles, when she was coming into this dark character with Bray Wyatt, and, maybe the Fiend kind of became the dominant voice in her head for a little while. And then as she got deeper and deeper into this possession or whatever you want to call it, Lily kind of kicked him out.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean,
like, back up, dude. This one's mine. Hope you've enjoyed, her being you've borrowed her for a little while. I want her back now. Which would also explain why she doesn't like the Fiend.
Exactly.
He took her away from her temporarily, and now she's got her back.
That's right. Kevin Hefferner is asking a good question, and Jodie actually sent me pictures of this last Monday night, so this is interesting. But Kevin asked, did you notice the blonde lady behind Orton last week in 2 segments? I think she's Fiend related since Randy always mentions the Fiend.
So whenever WWE's done with a storyline, they just stop mentioning it. They just stop talking about it. It just it disappears, poof, vanishes into thin air, and then never gets mentioned again. So I still don't think this feud with Randy's over. I think it may be put on the back burner for a little while we're trying to figure out what Alexa's going to do and where her story's going to go. But I definitely don't think it's over at all. And obviously, instead of Puppet Watch tonight, we're doing Blonde Woman Watch. They definitely WWE. I think the first time I saw it, I was like, well, that's kind of weird. Maybe it was just somebody that didn't get out of camera shot in the right amount of time. But then you saw it again, and you're like, that has to be intentional.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it was Alexa, but they definitely wanted you to think it was because she's wearing that same dotted shirt. It pretty much looked like what Alexa looked like when she first met the Fiend.
Right.
She's wearing that dotted shirt like the doll. She's got the pink. She had a little bit of pink in her hair at the bottom. She was blonde, obviously. So they definitely want you to think that it was Alexa.
Yeah, I mean, it's like the very first night that that we got that interaction, and so that's an very interesting point. And when you sent me that picture, I was like, it can't be coincidence.
Right. Well, that's when you saw it twice, you were like,
right.
Okay.
Right. I mean, it's not coincidence. Staunch, we are not staying on for Raw, but stay tuned. I'll say this, stay tuned. Things are are going to change and be announced at some point, and I have said too much, so I'm going to shut up now.
Patience is a virtue.
Yes. We get it. We've had a lot of people ask us to stream Raw, and we know that there is a groundswell of support for it. We appreciate it. We really do. Just know that, just be on the lookout. That's all I'll say. Be on the lookout.
We have heard you.
We hear you and we see you. Jason Michael saying, "Hey Jody and Jeff, what's up? What's up, man? Hope you're doing well." Okay. So now, the elephant in the room is we saw Funhouse Bray, and he promised some changes, and we haven't seen them since then. So, my question to you, Abby. When are we going to see Bray Wyatt again? Are we going to see him tonight, or when are we going to see him again?
I think that's highly possible that we see him tonight. I think we were very spoiled when we got a playground and a funhouse in the same episode. I think we were all kind of didn't really know what to do with ourselves. So last week we got a playground. So it would stand to reason that we get a funhouse this week, maybe another playground next week. So maybe they're going to start flip-flopping it. I don't think they're going to spoil us every week and give us both. So Alexa's made her case and talked about Lily. Now Bray has a chance to respond.
Yeah, there you go. C Wrestling has joined us. What's up? C. Hopefully you've recovered. I don't know how much fun you had yesterday, but hopefully you've recovered. Okay, so yeah, I mean, I think we got spoiled, and we were like, "Oh my God, he's back!" So we're gonna get it every week again, and no,
not so fast.
Not so. So I know that there are a lot of people, especially in the chat, that I've seen. I haven't been able to read every comment, and we can't, but a lot of people are concerned that, hey, we haven't seen Bray. They're really starting to push Alexa. If people looked at the stuff that WWE put out today, their headers and everything. What's up, Jesse Callen? Their headers and everything have changed, and there's no Bray or the Fiend. There's just Alexa there. So, what say you about that?
I'm not worried about it, honestly. And C Wrestling mentioned this to me in one of our phone conversations. I don't remember which one it was, but if you look at it from this different perspective, Alexa is Bray's creation. And while I don't know him personally, I would imagine he's pretty proud of that as well. He's guided Alexa into this role, and he's still telling his story. He's just using another medium, if that makes sense. So if you try to look at it from that perspective, that Alexa is Bray's creation and she's kind of run with it. And maybe the reason why he's not on the poster or the header, maybe he's going to start flip-flopping back and forth between shows. Maybe he gets drafted somewhere else, or maybe he goes to Alexa stays on Raw and the Fiend ends up going to SmackDown. He's got some people over there that need to answer for what they've done.
That's right.
Maybe he gets drafted to SmackDown.
And
they don't want you to know he's going to SmackDown, do they?
No.
They're not going to tell you. So I don't know. It's yes, Alexa's getting a push, but she's also, Bray created that character as well. And while Alexa's doing a fantastic job, I'm not saying she's not, that came from his, a lot of that probably came from his brain as well.
Yeah. And I think we even mentioned this before, but doesn't it make sense if they're not going to be interacting with each other to be separated at this point? So you kind of get the universe throughout WWE as opposed to just heavily focused on one show.
Yeah, 100%. And, I think me and Alec were talking about this the other day too. The Fiend may evolve a little bit more. We may see a new character come out of it or whatever, but Bray Wyatt, the wrestler, is not going anywhere for a long time. So have some faith in that. Like, he was the number one merch seller last year. He headlined half of their pay-per-views. They can't give... I think WWE is in a position where they don't want the fans... They don't want to have people watching just to watch Bray. And that's where I know a lot of us are. We watch to see Bray Wyatt. So I think they're trying to push other people to get people to watch in general. And, we get these little rewards of the Fiend and Bray Wyatt. Because if you ask any one of us in the chat or either me or you, I'd be happy with 3 hours of Bray Wyatt. I don't even care about anybody else on the roster. You know what I mean? Like, most of us kind of feel that way. We watch Raw in hopes of seeing Bray Wyatt. And I think See Wrestling told me that too. So they've got to, push other people to try to get people behind, somebody other than Bray Wyatt. I think that's what they're trying to do with Alexa. She's still tied to Bray because that's his creation, but it's not Bray. So,
Big Dan, I'm going to mention his comment and then I'll kind of share my thoughts on that because I completely agree. Big Dan says basically Bray is Dr. Dre and Alexa is Eminem. That's a great analogy. Like, it really is a great analogy. I really like that. And he brings up another question since we got the return of Aleister Black. He says, what if Bray is in cahoots with Aleister?
And that too, that tells you right there the fact that they're doing a similar thing with Aleister Black, that WWE are behind these supernatural characters. They're behind these dark characters. Otherwise, they wouldn't be trying to do it with somebody else. That also tells you that they want people to watch for reasons other than Bray, because now they're having somebody else do very similar dark things. So that should be, keep you hopeful that the Fiend's not going anywhere anytime soon, because now they're doing it with somebody else. Right. So Vince, he makes a lot of questionable decisions sometimes that make us go, what? But he also, as Bray has told us in the Funhouse, he's fueled by money, and Bray's a cash cow. So he's not going anywhere anytime soon.
Yeah. And that's what I want to say too, is like, yeah, a lot of us watch because we want to see what happens with Bray. Like, we want to see what happens with this story. I get it that some people don't really like the direction that Raw is going in right now. They definitely need to improve the show. I definitely want to say that. I mean, is it as bad as some people have said? Probably not. But we all have our opinions. We like what we like and we don't like what we don't like. And at the same time, it's like, okay, you got to get something that appeals to the masses. And, maybe that, I agree with you. That's what they're trying to do. Like, that's why you're seeing other people and you're spacing out everything with Bray and you're spacing out things with Alexa because, again, overuse, you become too dependent on those characters. And if they're off TV or if they get injured or anything like that, God forbid, then all of a sudden, what do? You're stuck.
Imagine if we knew every week that we were going to see Bray Wyatt. There would be weeks that we didn't watch live. Like, oh, I'll catch it later on YouTube. I'm busy or what. You know what I mean? Bray makes you watch live.
Right.
You never know when he's going to show up. And I really do think that WWE want to do that with other people.
They want you to be invested in the entire show as opposed to just one or two characters. So, yeah.
Let's not forget that Vince is a businessman and he knows the fan base better than you think he does, because if Bray is ever on, he's the last person, or in the last half an hour of that show. And he knows that because he knows people will sit there for 3 hours just to watch Bray.
Just to watch Bray. Well, you know, this is a good point to segue because Bray tweeted out some things. Just some bizarre things. And, you know, he sends this out. First off, I'm going to be completely transparent. I've had a lot of people say stuff about this dad guy. I have no idea what the heck this is. So someone in the chat, please educate me because I have no clue. But Bray tweeted out the first thing and it says me too. And then he got a response and and then he says, no one can help me, ... us, in the response. So, again, someone in the chat, if you know anything.
I do know that is, somebody told me that is sign language for help.
Yes.
But do you remember that? I look at it this way, and this is just my theory brain working. Bray is very kayfabe on Twitter 99.9% of the time. So what if this is cult leader Bray trying to reach out to come forward again? We haven't seen cult leader Bray in a long time. So what if this is some other kind of personality that's within Bray Wyatt that is controlled by the Fiend saying, help me, get me out of here. Let me talk. It's my turn. That's why he said, no one can help me. Us. There are multiple personalities at play here, and you don't know which one's going to come out of Bray Wyatt, especially when he's tweeting because you can't see his face. So I looked at it that way. Like maybe this is some other personality that's trying to come out.
Do you?
Bray did say we were going to get new friends and a whole new me.
He did. And that was going to be my next question is like, do you think because we get told that we're going to get some new person. When Bray was doing his thing in the Funhouse, when he came back, we kind of got an evangelist.
Yeah.
And we also have seen him be a huge conspiracy theorist.
Yes.
So, and I do know a little bit. Maybe I'm completely off. So again, EJ Movement saying that's a YouTuber that Bray was just interacting with on Twitter. I don't think that it means anything. I would push back on that EJ Movement and say that everything that Bray does means something. That's just
99.9% of the time.
Yeah, I mean, maybe it doesn't, but it's a possibility that it does. And since we do this show, we got to analyze it. I mean, we got to have something to sink our teeth into. So while I understand that completely and respect that, it could be, and I think Joe joined us earlier. What's up, Joe? And Michael Marone, and a lot of people have joined us. So thank you all. I'm sorry. Mito, thank you for joining us. But like, I read a little bit about this dad guy and his family being involved with like robots and AI and that kind of stuff. So my question is, do you think we could see conspiracy theorist / evangelist Bray kind of doing a mashup and doing something crazy like that and kind of doing they're out to get us, that kind of thing, and taking this reptilians thing to a different level?
He definitely could. I mean, I think we're going to see another variation of Bray Wyatt. If cult leader Bray comes back, I think he'll be a little bit different. Maybe we'll get evangelist Bray. He healed everybody except Abby. And I think the words that he used to Abby were very telling. He said, "Be gone." So what if the story goes forward that way? You know, something with Abby and trying to get rid of her once and for all. But the person who could do that maybe could be Alexa Bliss.
Yeah. Hey.
Yes, bring back Muscle Man Bray. I'm cool with that.
Well,
But yeah, I think there's probably, you know, other personalities that we haven't met yet.
And I agree with that. I got to shout out. I'm not calling you a legend. You know what I am. I'm feeling charitable today. Firefly Revolution, the legend that is Firefly Revolution. Thank you for joining. Wrestling Lane, thank you for joining. Let's see here. There's just so much that you can dig into. Mm-hmm. So again, you know, as this thing continues to evolve, this is another tweet that we got. Dad says, "Sounds like you need to eat more food." And Bray says, "Trust me, I'm full, too full." Again, I am so confused.
But again, if you look at it from that perspective of this other personality trying to come forward, he's full of personalities.
Right.
There's not any more personalities in there. There's enough people up here. He even said it. There's still a lot of darkness in this old noggin.
That's right. That's right. So my question to you, Abby, could food represent some of the people that he's gotten revenge on in the past?
Yeah, I could see that. I mean, if you think about, compare it again to a horror movie, you know, that's how you know, when someone gets possessed, they slowly drain and eat the life force out of them.
Mm-hmm. I see that.
Sounds like Bray Wyatt. The Fiend just needs to get fed.
That's right. He needs to get fed.
Feed your demon, folks. Feed the monster under your bed.
Feed the monster. They even realize saying food as in feeding his soul. Yes. So we get this, and obviously that creates a lot of questions. It's like the one question, the big question that I have at this point is, who's doing the talking here? Is this Funhouse Bray? Is this cult leader Bray? Who is it? You know, or is it somebody completely different?
I'm going to say it's none of the above.
Okay.
We're going to get new friends.
Okay. Now, FKS 23 saying, "I would be a pessimist here. I think this Bray's poster about how Bray feels about how he's treated by WWE."
Then why would he say that he's full? Because full can mean overnourished. I don't think he would have said that if he was unhappy with how he's been treated. And Bray is one of those people that, how do I put this? I feel like he's very loyal in terms of his career. Yes, I like that. Eater of Worlds. I dig it. So I are there times where I'm sure he's frustrated? Yes. Is that going to make him want to break his contract and go somewhere else? I don't think so. I think Bray is one of those people that's very good about bouncing back. And I feel like if Vince came to him with an idea, you know, or wanting to change the way he does something, okay, well, how about this way? I feel like he's very negotiable. He's, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know.
Yeah. All right. So we get this, Jody. And
bring
then
Eater of Worlds Bray back. I'm totally cool with that.
we'd love that. So then, Jody, completely random,
completely.
John Morrison says, "Careful, Dad has backup."
Yeah.
You see Bray's response with DJ Khaled down in the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
So I pose this question to you. Do you think somehow, some way, they're going to weave in John Morrison, and this is going to be some type of feud between John Morrison and The Miz? Because before you go there, a lot of people have said, well, there's just absolutely positively no tie-in. I challenge you on that because
Yes.
The Miz, I'll
Yes.
just say The Miz. Okay, Jody, go ahead.
Who's, Miz or Morrison's tied with Miz. They had a little bit of a feud. Wouldn't it be awesome though if Bray goes after Morrison to get him to split with the Miz? They've been together for a long time. They haven't turned their back on each other really. So what if he goes that way? To get to Miz, you got to go through Morrison. Why did Morrison say he has backup? Miz is a dad. Miz has backup. So maybe he goes through Morrison to get to the Miz.
That's it. I mean, I know a lot of people are saying, well, it doesn't make sense, but
in a 6 degree separation way, it does. And Bray Wyatt, if it makes sense to him, he'll do it.
Yeah. I mean, it makes sense. But my question to you is, if this isn't a match that we get, what do you think is next for Bray? Like, what do you think happens next?
I don't know. I still feel like this feud with Randy's not over. There's got to be some more supernatural elements going on there. I mean, they've got some holes to close. There's some closure that we need there. I think this story, we may get more into it in terms of what's he going to do with Alexa. Is he going to go after her? Is she going to possess Randy and go back after the Fiend? Like, you don't know. I was showing that match to my 6-year-old, showing him the WrestleMania match because he absolutely. I asked him if he wanted a Bray Wyatt fat head or a Fiend fat head on his wall in the new house, and he said, "I want the Fiend because he's cool." So I had to show him the WrestleMania match, and I was thinking about it. And do you remember how Randy said, "I know what depths of hell I need to go to beat him"? What if that was using Alexa Bliss?
Okay.
What if the depths of hell that he needed to go to was to, I don't know, somehow possess Alexa Bliss, or let Alexa Bliss possess him, or, using Alexa Bliss to make the Fiend lose?
That's deep. And I like it. See Wrestling has a good explanation as to why a lot of these tweets happen. He said it was 420 day. These superstars were high and went down the rabbit holes on YouTube. There you go. They were just...
Yeah, S.C. Williams said, similar to Dexter Lumis getting in the mind of Austin Theory for Bray to get in Morrison's head. What if Randy did that at WrestleMania? Gotten Alexa's head, or let Alexa get in his head in order to make Bray lose, the Fiend lose.
That's interesting.
I didn't really pick that up until I watched that Mania match again. I watched the entire promo, and he was talking about this doesn't end on your terms, and now I know what depths of hell I need to go to beat him. Well, he did. So what'd he do? It was Alexa.
Mm-hmm.
So what did Randy do to Alexa?
Exactly. I just have to put this up here because it's still great. So this is how this is gonna stay on the screen the entire rest of the show. So I mean, just because
I laughed so hard that I had tears in my eyes. That's how funny that was.
yeah, this is great. So I mean, do you think we see him tonight? Do you think we see Bray tonight?
I think it's highly possible.
I think it's highly possible.
I'm gonna go with like 85%.
Okay, 85% that you think we see.
Although, you know, and part of that I will admit is influenced by my buddy Meta, who gets those gut feelings, and he sent a message earlier and said, "I think we're getting a Funhouse tonight."
You know what? I will say this. I don't talk to Meta like you do, but I talk to you who talks to Meta. And I've learned to, believe
what he tells you. Yeah.
I believe in the gut of Meta. So I'm down. I'm down with that. Hey, if he says it, I got to put a little bit of stock into it. So, Butterspart, oh my God, Butterspart saying that Randy got a pleasureful pin from. I mean, but listen, maybe.
Okay. Yes, he did, and his wife was pretty mad about it.
SKS23 saying my new Fiend art is related to this picture. You should check it out. Are you on Twitter? If so, tag the insiders and shout us out. Tag Jodie and myself too, and let us see it. We love seeing Fiend art. Yeah, but you know what? Even though it's kind of a funny thing, the way that Alexa pinned him, it's not uncommon in horror movies, especially with demonically possessed characters, get that type of dominant position on whoever they're trying to conquer. So
yep,
it's not out of the realm of possibility. I know a lot of people saw it and they were like, "Whoa!" Especially Randy's wife. She was not having that at all.
Not happy at all.
She was pissed. I mean,
well, I'm pretty sure, if Alexa did that to Bray, JoJo might have been a little pissed too.
Yeah, she might have been.
It's just part of being a woman.
Yeah, she might have been a little bit upset. Butterspart saying succubus. See, that's.
Yep.
Just saying.
Yep.
Just saying. So if we do see him tonight, what do you think we get? Do you think we get this evolution towards whatever this new persona may be, or do you think it's, what do you think we get?
I think we'll get more cryptic subtle hints at where this is going, because Bray's really good at that. It'll be really nice to see that handsome face on my TV.
Hey, I'm all for seeing more Bray Wyatt. I mean, but here's a question for you about the Fiend, though. Do you think we see the Fiend anytime soon, or do you think that it's going to be kind of a hiatus in terms of the Fiend?
I don't think we see him. We may get glimpses of him through the Funhouse like we've had before. And I think Bray will be the one to say where he's going to go next, or give a hint to where he's going to go next. So, because we don't know if, they've still got a little while before this pay-per-view happens, so they can definitely build that. So I definitely think they will, about where this is going to go. You never know, though. Like Bray, the Fiend, he kind of skips pay-per-views every now and then. Yeah. But just be patient, and don't be so quick to blame WWE for it, because it may be it may be Bray's idea. You want to keep the Fiend special.
I gotta ask this question because we just got tagged on this photo. Can I show this on screen? Do you mind?
I'm
Hey,
sure.
if you don't mind me showing this, I just want to show this real quick. That is
That's great.
awesome right there. You can't see it well. Go check out Twitter. But yeah, that is awesome. Kill the witches.
Kill the witches.
That is awesome. Dave in real life saying the Fiend won't return until a new target has been announced by Funhouse Bray.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I was thinking. Like, I think Funhouse Bray is going to be the one to drive this.
Yeah. Big Dan saying, Jeff, I'd like to see Bray in front of a lake saying, I've swam in the lake of reincarnation and reborn, and he's been reborn, and when the time is right, all will be revealed. You know what? I think, and Jodie, you mentioned this to me before, there are so many parallels with good and evil and religion ties and all of those things in this story. I mean, I know we kind of laugh with the whole idea of, the evangelist kind of coming out, but I mean, there could be some teeth to that, right?
Yeah. Bray has always been this long-term thinker, and he said in several interviews before, that he has a message to send, and, conquering evil could definitely be that message. And it would be a very powerful one if he spent all this time, doing these different characters to bring people in to ultimately destroy evil. It's your classic horror movie.
Yeah.
That's the goal of horror movies, even ones that continue and continue and continue. The goal is to destroy the evil person, whether it be a demon or a serial killer or a slasher, or that's what they draw you in. And then ultimately good triumphs over evil. And I think that, if that's Bray's overall message, it would definitely be a very powerful one. Yeah. And I would be 100% on board with that, because it's a great story.
It is. I mean, it's great. It really is great. It's just, I'm still looking at this art. This is good stuff. Kevin Hefner, thank you for the generous and kind donation, saying Bray called the Funhouse a simulation weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
I know we talked about that a little bit, but let's dive a little bit deeper into that, in the last few minutes of the show. What do you think that means? Like, simulation could mean a lot of things.
Mm-hmm.
I know a lot of people have theorized, is the Funhouse real? Is it just what he wants us to see? Like, what do you think the simulation means?
It actually made me think of that old video game from the 90s, The Sims.
Yeah.
And you basically create your own world. You create your own people, you create your own characters, and you get you control them and get them to do whatever you want them to do. So, Bray has always said, or we've always said about Bray, like, the Funhouse being his imaginary safe place, especially when you've been victim to any kind of trauma. Anybody that has, kind of post-traumatic stress disorder has a safe space. Anybody that's been, obviously I can't relate totally to that, but, I have trauma in my past. When I was 18, I was robbed at gunpoint when I worked at a video store, and you do find that safe space in your mind to go to when you feel traumatized by remembering what you've been through. And I think that's very similar to, and you're bringing in people who make you feel safe.
Right. and the puppets, represent.
Mhm.
So yeah, I like that. I like that. I didn't say this before, but DJ B Tazzy joined us.
He did.
B Tazzy is in the chat. What's up? What's up?
Yay.
Dave in real life saying, and Cheese Whiz too saying hello, Jeff and Jody. I forgot to say it earlier. All good, all good. Dave in real life saying Bray can press the reset button anytime he likes. So people, he lost to like Goldberg, beware. So yeah.
And that's the beauty of being in a simulation game. You can just erase it all and restart.
Right.
The way he walked through the door was exactly the way he walked through the door the very first episode.
Mm-hmm.
The background was different. That was it. But he walked through the door exactly the same way. So, that's the beauty of being in a simulation, that you can just hit restart and start over.
B Dog saying, I say that the Fiend and Ghost Rider are alike because how they are portrayed and the Bible stuff Bray is used, Fiend could get new power.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, there's just so much that's tied into this story that allows us to do. I mean, we've been talking about Bray Wyatt for 51 minutes, and we saw him 2 weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
But there's just so much, to break down. So yeah.
Yes, the Fiend versus Randy Orton in a cinematic match is what we need. I think 99.9% of his fans that's what they want. It's begging that cinematic match. It just is.
Now that cinematic match, is that a Firefly Funhouse match akin to the Cena match?
I could see it being like 7 stages of hell match.
Ooh.
You know what I mean? Like some kind of, Randy said to himself, whoever that was possessing Randy Orton, said that, he's going to come face to face with everything that he's done. I think I took that literally. He is literally going to come face to face with everything that he's done in that kind of cinematic match. However, I don't think it'll be exactly like the Funhouse match, because I think they'll try to do something a little bit different, which is why I say maybe like a 7 stages of hell kind of match, but it will be Randy facing everything that he's done.
See, I would love that. And
a Dante's Inferno kind of vibe too, doing a stages of hell match.
You know what? I kind of want James Chadwick. I swear, it's sometimes like James and I just think on the same wavelength. I was just about to say a House of Horrors 2.0. Took the words right out of my mouth. I mean, I want to see, you know what? Dang it, Kyle Scarborough. You tweeted out that picture of the cabin. I want to see something in the freaking cabin.
Yeah. How great would it be, though, like, if they went back to the old Wyatt compound?
Oh, God. Yeah.
For a cinematic match at the old Wyatt compound. Like, you just shut up and take my money.
Right. I mean, I would just love to see. I want to see a more twisted and sinister version of the Funhouse match, incorporated with the House of Horrors match. Like that's what I want to see. I really want to see Big Dan saying "Cabin of Carnage" match. Like I want to see the freaking cabin like that. I want to see it because I swear to goodness, we sat there for hours, zooming in, zooming out, zooming back. I mean, hours doing that. So, oh my God, David realized saying still holding out for Cabin Inferno match.
House of Horrors 2021 edition. And they're, if they want to start touring in July again around SummerSlam, they're kind of running out of chances to do those cinematic elements.
Sure.
So bring it on.
Very true. Firefly Revolution saying Randy versus Eater of Worlds Bray, Randy versus Funhouse Bray, then Randy versus The Fiend. That's your 3 stages of hell cinematic match.
I actually think it should be a little different than that. I think you start with Funhouse Bray, then you go to The Fiend. I think Eater of Worlds Bray will be the one to defeat, or Cult Leader Bray should be the one to defeat him.
That I like that, because if anything, that's who he has more history with.
Yep.
So, wow, that would be great. That would see.
And I don't think, not necessarily Randy beats The Fiend, but The Fiend kind of, weakens Randy, pushes him to that breaking point, and then just tosses him somewhere, and he ends up in the ring with Cult Leader Bray.
Okay, I gotta make this comment right here. WWE writers and producers, if you need ideas, if you need a little bit of help with booking this story, and you're not necessarily, listening to the man that's doing all of this for you, give the show a listen, because maybe, you can get some things from here that, that you're not quite thinking of yet. So
you never know. Maybe Bray listens and he thinks, that's a good idea.
And if that's the case, thank you, sir. But no, I mean, it's just, I think we want the conclusion of the Randy story. Like, that's got to happen, right? Like, that's got to happen before.
Otherwise, he would have stopped talking about it.
Right.
I just don't think it's over. I really don't.
Right. Supposedly Randy is injured right now. Do you think that's going to affect this in any way? Or do you think that, maybe we get some interactions that don't involve physicality?
I think that's definitely an opportune time to do that. If he is injured, which it appeared that he actually is.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, there's plenty of other things that you can do without actually wrestling, especially when it comes to Bray Wyatt. I mean, so many other things you could do. But yes, we need to tie up those loose ends for sure.
God, I love Chris. My headphones are sponsored by Bobbleheads R Us. Because I have a big head and a little body. Not really. I'm a big dude. So, Butterspark saying conclusion needed badly. Yes. So, Jodie, any final thoughts before we take off? Obviously, you feel like we are getting an appearance tonight. Anything else you want to share before we take off?
Enjoy Raw. If we get to see Bray Wyatt, fantastic. If we don't give up hope. Just keep with it. Just stick with it, and I promise you'll be rewarded.
And remember, Fireflies, he'll light the way. All you have to do is
let him in.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate it. We always have a blast doing this show because it's just fun. I mean, it's fun. We get to go down rabbit holes. We get to talk. There's just so much, just so much stuff.
Yeah.
So thank you all. Thank you for the kind comments and everything, and the compliments in the chat. That we really appreciate that. But we do want to ask this before you go. If you don't mind, drop a like on this video. Give us a thumbs up. That helps us be seen a little bit more. And if you're new to the channel, we'd love if you would subscribe. And honestly, we have so much stuff that's going on that you might want to hit that post notification bell because you never know when the insiders will go live. Just going to say that. Thank you all. Thank you so much for joining us. Stay safe. Hopefully you can enjoy Raw tonight. Hopefully there will be some things that you like about it. But you know what? Just keep your eyes peeled because you never know what's going to happen. So thank you all so much, and we will see you next time. We will be back. The Insiders will be back on Thursday for our Impact watch along, and there's a lot of stuff. That's all I'm going to say about that. So thank you all for joining us, and we will see you next time. Take care.